these two games in the first round of the college football playoffs essentially irrelevant. Now, maybe one of those teams can have a lucky win, but neither of them is going to go win the whole playoffs. And
Right.
you're leaving two teams out of it that could put up a fight.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
if
Yeah. You don't have the 12 best teams in there right now.
All right, welcome back to Two Generations One Mike. This is episode 5 now. Crazy we've made it this far. We have a great episode today. Obviously, the college football playoffs are set. The NFL playoff race is really heating up here. But first, we have to start it out with Pat's jersey.
Hi, Ben. How you doing? It's good to see you.
Good to see
Excited to
you.
be with you. Holy cow. So much stuff to talk about. It seems like we're saying that each week.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. And boy, when we were talking last week about what to expect heading into the college football championship week, and then the release of the final playoff listing, it did exactly what you and I predicted, and that was cause all kinds of chaos. And then you have crazy stuff going on in the NFL. Some stuff to talk about basketball. We got a lot of stuff to get to. So let me get to this real quick. Here's today's jersey.
Bo Jackson.
Bo Jackson. I mean, Ben, if you could have been alive and when he was playing, it was unbelievable to watch. So he went to Auburn and he won the Heisman Trophy in 1985. And then it was in the NFL draft in 86. Was drafted first by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which I will be honest, I had forgotten and did not realize because he never played for him. He said, if you guys draft me, I'm not going to play for you. Reason being, he also played for the baseball team at Auburn. And when he did a visit to the Buccaneers in preparation for the draft, he took a trip on the Buccaneers' private plane. And the Buccaneers told him that they had cleared it with the NCAA, but as it turns out, they hadn't. And he thought they were trying to sabotage his baseball career because the NCAA suspended him for the remainder of his baseball career at Auburn. And so he said, don't draft me, otherwise I'm going to play baseball. They drafted him number 1 overall in 86. Then in the 86 baseball draft, the Kansas City Royals took him in the 4th round, 105th overall, and he signed a deal with them and started playing for them. Meanwhile, approaching would be now the 87 draft, since Tampa didn't sign him, they forfeited the rights to him. He went back into the draft in 87, and it talks about him literally sleeping while the draft was going on, and he woke up to find out he was taken in the 7th round, I believe 185th overall, something like that, to the Oakland Raiders. Al Davis was super excited to have him, signed him to a contract that totally took his baseball career into account in terms of being able to be away from the team to play baseball.
Yeah.
1989 was his best season in both sports, actually. He made the All-Star game for baseball, and that was actually, he's got a couple of famous highlights from that. In the top of the first, he made a running catch with to save 2 runs that would have scored, and then in the bottom of the first, hit a 448-foot home run. I mean, he was just an absolute legend. Then for the Raiders in 89, had a great season. Turns out then, in fast forward to, I believe it was 1991, Raider playoff game against the Bengals. And he was running down the sideline, took a funny step as he was tackled, and kind of came down with his legs straight, and it dislocated his hip. And he ended up having to basically ultimately ended up with a full hip replacement.
Wow.
And was never the same in either sport again. He ended up in only played for the Raiders in the NFL In baseball, he also played for the White Sox and maybe the Orioles, but
Okay.
was never quite the same. It was a career that was cut significantly short.
Yeah.
I mean, he was in the old Tecmo Bowl video game. He was like a 100% rating for running back in that game. I mean, you could not tackle him. It was kind of fun. That was the old
Yeah.
little block guys that would move along. But
That's awesome.
anyway, there's your throwback, Ben.
Love it. That's a good one right there. The powder blue is just such a good
Oh,
jersey.
so any powder blue jersey is great. I love the Royals powder blue. I love the Twins powder blue, the St. Louis Cardinals
Yep.
powder blue, and the Philadelphia Phillies powder blues are all fantastic from back in the 80s.
Yeah. No, those are all great.
Yeah,
All right. So
yeah.
jumping into the show now, have to start with the college football rankings. So besides the Ohio State and um, Indiana flip, it went unchanged through the top 9 spots, including Alabama stayed the same. And then we have Miami jumping over BYU and Notre Dame to snag that 10th spot. And then the group of 5 spots go to Tulane and JMU. I will let you get started on your thoughts about Notre Dame.
Well, I have said in past episodes that I'm a Notre Dame fan.
Mhm.
With that being said, my problem isn't so much that Notre Dame was left out, it's the process that was used to determine that. If it's going to be judged head to head, Miami should have been ahead of Notre Dame from the release of the very first college football playoff ranking 6 weeks ago or 7 weeks ago or however many weeks ago it was. My problem is with the inconsistency. So I think that is a problem with them.
Yep.
I think that Notre Dame should be skipped now, all upset and skipping a bowl game? That is up to the players to decide. I feel if they want to or not. Everyone's all upset that they're quote unquote crying and all that business, and then saying no thank you to the bowl game. Whatever. I really don't care about that either way. In terms of Alabama maintaining their same spot regarding having lost in the championship game against Georgia, I I I don't. I understand that they want to keep the championship games relevant, and so they don't want a team that is in the top 12 and plays the championship game when no one else is playing or a number of them aren't playing to then be punished, because then people will start to forego the conference championship games.
Hmm.
So I understand that, but the problem is the precedent had been set a few years ago when Georgia was number one, undefeated, lost to Alabama in the SEC championship game, and then got bumped down to number 6, and that was when it was a 14 playoff.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that they need to do to quote unquote make up their mind on how they're going to handle the selection process. What do you think? You tell me your thoughts on all of that.
Yeah, I agree. It is inconsistent with how even when Miami was ranked 18th and Notre Dame was ranked 10, Notre Dame won the season out. There's nothing else they could have done. But you still have Miami below them and eventually coming in and jumping them. So it is questionable how the head to head doesn't apply until they're right next to each other. So I agreeing with what you said. But I think too the bigger issue is, which I know it changes next year to the top 12 teams, but it is unfortunate that it happened this year, where this wouldn't even be really much of a discussion if Notre Dame and BYU could have had those 11th and 12th seeds. Because the reason the playoffs were expanded were there were teams outside the top 4 that should be making it. So let's make it the top 12 teams. Not let 2 group of 5 teams in. Yeah, so in the first round here coming up, we have Tulane versus Ole Miss, which is a 16.5 point spread for Ole Miss, and James Madison in Oregon, where that's a 20 point spread. It
Yep.
these two games in the first round of the college football playoffs essentially irrelevant. Now, maybe one of those teams can have a lucky win, but neither of them is going to go win the whole playoffs. And
Right.
you're leaving two teams out of it that could put up a fight.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
if
Yeah. You don't have the 12 best teams in there right now.
no, Tulane and James Madison, that it's out of their weight class. These other 10 teams are on a different level than them. And
Correct.
I was listening to the Pat McAfee show the other day. If it had been um, Notre Dame, Oregon in the first round, that could have been the best game in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah,
But no, we
you're
get
exactly right.
yeah,
Yep. Nope, you're spot on, Ben. And people might then come in and argue, well, in the basketball tournament, you have a number of small conference champions that get in, small conferences in terms of school size and caliber and everything like that get into the tournament. Well, when you're talking about 68 teams,
yep.
that is different than 12.
They're not robbing anyone.
Correct. Correct.
Those
And
good
and
teams are
so
still
when
making
you're
it anyways.
yes, no, you're exactly right. And who's going to watch Tulane Ole Miss? That game already happened this year, and it was a blowout. I forget what it was, 41-3 or 41-10 or something like that.
Yeah.
The only people that are watching that are fans of Tulane and fans of Ole Miss. I mean, I can tell you right now, I'm as big of just a general sports fan as there is, and I'm not tuning into that. I've got other things to do.
Yeah. It is.
Whereas if it were and same with James Madison and Oregon, now Notre Dame and Oregon, or fill in the blank. If it were BYU in Oregon, I would be tuning in for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yes.
So, sticking with Notre Dame here. So, obviously, they are in ACC for every sport except football. So, every year during conference championship week, they're sitting at home on the couch. So, due to the fact that they were at home on the couch this weekend and got jumped because they weren't playing, should they start thinking about joining the ACC? Because we saw Virginia and Duke in the ACC championship game this weekend, and Notre Dame would have been in that had they been a part of the ACC, which they
Right.
could have won that game and secured their spot in the playoffs.
Yep. Yep. Uh, I think since it changes next year
Hmm.
on just the top 12 getting in, and there's a memorandum of understanding out there that's been signed by whether it's every school in the FBS or every conference, whatever it might be. Either way, that memorandum of understanding is out there, knowing that it is just the top 12 teams that get in.
Yeah.
And so my guess is, Ben, that because of the amount of money that Notre Dame is getting by staying independent, having their own TV contract with NBC, my guess is it won't change because now they're covered.
That's a good point. Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. And then they're opting out of the bowl game, and I feel like this year we're seeing a lot more teams opt out of their bowl game. Kansas State, Iowa State, a couple others.
Yes.
And I feel like you have to attribute this to NIL and the transfer portal. Players want to stay healthy and get the best deal possible. Whereas in the past, yeah, you've had a couple players sit out bowl games, but that's for the draft. And that's primarily first and second round picks. You'd even see guys later in the draft still want to play to improve their draft stock. Whereas now every player's eligible for NIL in the transfer portal. So they don't want to play in a meaningless game where they could get hurt and lose
Right.
out on a ton of money.
Right.
So do you think, is there going to be a way to counter this or just end bowl games altogether? Or what are your thoughts on this?
Well, you bring up a very good question, Ben, with do you end bowl games altogether? I mean, I think that there are plenty of teams out there that still want to participate in bowl games. And because it comes with, I obviously have never been a part of one from a player standpoint, but I think there's a lot of fun things that you get to do around the bowl game. You get a lot of stuff given to you, swag, whatever you want to call it. And
Hmm.
there's a lot of events and that sort of thing, depending on where the bowl game is held. Parades and, things like that at Disney World and etc. I guess at least that's what they've always talked about. So in my opinion, you're going to find teams that would sign up for that. But like you said, I think that the NIL money changes everything because now, as you said, they're all paid whether they're going to the NFL or coming back the next year. And you definitely don't want to lose that. Iowa State and Kansas State's deciding to forego a bowl game, I think might be a hair different than Notre Dame's in that Kansas State referenced coaching change because their coach is
Yeah.
gone. Iowa State said they don't have enough players right now to field a team safely for practice and the game. Now, that very well could just be a reason to say, to skip that all the players said what we're talking about. But who's to say you really don't know? And then I think Notre Dame is skipping just out of quote unquote protest. So, and I think Notre Dame, if I read correctly, they were going to go to the Pop-Tart Bowl.
Yeah.
Um, which, you've got the Pop-Tart Bowl, the Mayonnaise Bowl. I forget which mayonnaise company that is. I don't know. I get it. I get it. I do get why they're skipping. And when you're talking millions of dollars that these guys are getting, a number of players on the team getting millions of dollars in college, that's before they even start talking about going to the NFL. I'd be nervous about getting hurt.
Yeah, and who's gonna watch the bowl game if it gets to the point where every starter's opting out of it, and it's either the same situation as Iowa State where we can't field a team, we don't have enough guys, or you're watching a team purely of backups you've never heard of.
Right. Right.
No
And
fun on that, yeah.
no, your TV money is going to go long away. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting what happens to the traditional bowl game. All those, the Citrus Bowl, the Holiday Bowl. And I mean, you talk about the Holiday Bowl, that just popped into my head. It's in San Diego. There historically have been some fantastic Holiday Bowl games
Yeah.
over the years. Now, and there's been a lot of great bowl games in general, even ones that weren't for national championship, the national championship. There's been some great games. And it will be a sad tradition to see go by the wayside, but
Hmm.
frankly, I don't see it going any other way.
Yeah, I mean that's the way it's looking right now.
Right.
Um, yeah, and then I mean last thing in college football, so Jimmy Rogers, who was the South Dakota State football coach 2 years ago, left for Washington State last year, and then just got hired as the Iowa State football coach. That's big for the state of South Dakota.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, I think an even bigger picture is just the entire coaching carousel as a whole. I saw a report on Instagram this morning that just as it was, a bunch of pages that I scrolled across showing, it was a picture of the coach and then where they were and what they're going to, and it just kept going. It's wild.
There's a
And
lot.
I know we've talked about where the portal starts on for players on January 2nd, which is right in the middle of the playoffs, and you're going to have some playoff rostered kids looking at moving, and then they're going to be caught in that thing that we talked about a couple of weeks ago, the quarterback from Penn State last year.
Hmm.
And so you hate to see that. You just hate to see that. But I think every coach has to understand that because that's the system. I watched a lot of College Game Day on Saturday morning, and Nick Saban was really going off on just the state of the whole thing regarding college athletics and college football as a whole. And he was talking about the need for a commissioner over the whole thing
Yep.
and trying to rein in when coaches are leaving, because leaving before, technically before the end of the season, leaving mid playoffs, that doesn't do anybody any good. Having players going into the portal before the end of the season doesn't do anybody any good. They've got to figure it out. They really do, and it's really starting to go off the rails. College athletics is really going off the rails as a whole. I don't know if you saw the report today that Utah just signed a private equity deal where it's going to become a for-profit organization,
Yeah.
the sports thing. I haven't had a chance to read about it and really get my arms around, but they're going to take investors.
Yeah.
Like
I think they're doing like jersey patches. Yeah. I
it's
saw that.
it's wild. It's
Yeah.
wild. I mean, it is the Wild West right now.
Yeah. But even then, for basketball, at least they have the schedule figured out. After Lane left for LSU, Rick Pitino had a great tweet. He said, I just don't understand this college football coaching and transfer portal schedule. Imagine if I'm in the Final Four with my guys and I had to tell them I'm leaving elsewhere. At least the NCAA has it figured out for basketball. I don't understand why they can't figure it out for football and just have all changes wait until February.
I completely agree. It's crazy. It's crazy. And, I'm trying not to as I talked about a few episodes ago, I have embraced the situation of kids leaving early from basketball. The one and done thing that started however many years ago, 10 years ago, when it really kind of started to ramp up, the one and done, where you don't get your team, your quote unquote team that stays together for 4 years. I've figured out how to cheer for that. College football, it has made it's made more schools competitive, if that makes sense. The smaller schools, like here in South Dakota, the smaller schools become feeders to bigger schools, and that's the nature of the beast as it is right now. But it makes a lot of the bigger schools, there's more parity, it seems like. And so I've learned to embrace that. But boy, now you're bringing the whole business element into college football as if it hasn't been there. It's been there behind the scenes, but now it's just so in your face. It's just so in your face.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be interesting how the country handles this.
Yeah. No, I have a feeling these next 2 seasons or so are going to get crazy.
Crazy. I would totally agree.
All
it's
right.
going to be really crazy. Like everyone's talking about, kind of what Lane Kiffin's going to do, and use the system to his advantage. Whether he's actually trying to use it to prove a point, or if he's just using it for his own benefit, or a combination of both. Whatever. I would guess it's a combination of both. But
Yeah.
he has just amassed a gigantic war chest at LSU.
I heard Sam Leavitt, Arizona State's quarterback, he was the only captain not to attend the end of the season banquet because the rumor is he's hitting the portal, which I think that kind of proves it if you're going to miss the banquet. And the rumor right now is that Lane's going to go after him.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Is he? I mean, you've been watching him for a few years. Is he good?
Led him to the playoffs last year and almost beat Texas. So,
that's true. Yeah. Okay, so he was there last year.
Yes, it was a little bit of a down year this year, mostly due to injury. He was in and out of the lineup all season, but
okay.
I mean, when he did play, he was good. And last year, when he was there with Scattaboo, he was really good.
Yeah, I remember watching that. That was fun. We were watching the Texas game together.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right, let's move on to the NFL here. So it seems like we've been talking about the AFC South a lot since we started this podcast, but I mean, we have to keep talking about them. So Jags beat the Colts this week. Daniel Jones goes down with a torn Achilles, out for the season. Super unfortunate. And it was on the other leg, compared to the broken fibula he already had.
Yeah.
So it was brutal.
Yeah.
Riley Leonard, the undrafted quarterback from Notre Dame, comes in 147 yards and an interception. Also gets hurt now week to week with a knee sprain. And it was just reported this morning that the Colts are signing 44-year-old Philip Rivers, who I mean,
Grandfather.
yes, he is a. Everyone knows how many kids he had. I didn't honestly learn until Shefty reported it that he is a grandfather. I did not realize that. So that's pretty. I'd love to know if he's the first grandfather to play
I,
in the NFL.
that is a super duper question. I would love to know that as well. I was hoping that I was watching the McAfee show here before you and I started, and I was hoping that he was going to say if there had been any other ones there. But it's just, you look back, back in the early days of the NFL, there have to have been some guys that were grandfathers technically
Yeah.
that played. But you sure can't think of any in recent years.
No.
That's for sure. And the fact that he hasn't played since 2020.
Yeah, I was looking at their roster in 2020 compared to their roster now. It's not like he has much experience with a lot of the like wide receivers and tight ends, the skill players on the team. The only two players that overlapped from 2020 to now were Michael Pittman Jr. and Jonathan Taylor. So it's not like he's throwing to the same receivers or anything. So
Right.
it'll be really interesting to see how this shakes out. And I mean, at 44 years old, they still have to play the Texans. He can't be very mobile when Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter are coming off the edge to get him.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
could be trouble.
Yeah. It really can be. And when you're not in football, I, maybe he's kept himself in shape, just
Hmm.
general, in shape.
Yeah.
Maybe he has, and waiting for a call. Like every year, he would fire his body up and plan for a phone call. I mean, who knows how that exactly happened? It was interesting listening to Pat McAfee talk again today, where he was telling a story of when he he was called into the Colts training room when went back there, and there's Peyton Manning. This was when Peyton Manning's neck got into all kinds of trouble, and Manning's got all kinds of stuff hooked up, and they decided to call Kerry Collins. Shout out to old Penn State Kerry Collins, and he had a great NFL career. I mean, he's not a Hall of Famer or anything like
Hmm.
that, but he played for a number of years. By this point, had been in retirement for, I forget what McAfee said for how long, but when he got the call, he was literally in a deer blind.
Yeah.
Um, and they bring him in. First game that he's playing in, someone came off the edge, the old hit in the back,
Yep.
down, his head goes down, slaps the ground, and he's done. Now, would that knock every player out? Maybe, maybe not. But when your body isn't used to getting banged around the way that these guys get hit in the NFL nowadays, I sure wouldn't want to be Philip Rivers at 44 getting smacked by those two guys coming off the edges for the Texans. I can tell you that.
Yeah. And I mean, like you said, even if he is staying in good shape, like relatively good shape, there's nothing that prepares you for like a true NFL game. You can't replicate that.
No,
Having
no.
5 years off, that's a long time of not playing in a true NFL game.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, no, exactly what you said. And, how to react and how to, I mean, your skills, and you're 44. I mean,
Hmm.
I've been 44. I mean, it's, things are different at 44 than when you're 24.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
But
Um,
best of luck to them. I mean, I think the Colts are a really cool story, and so I hope, they're able to, to keep going.
yeah. But with that win, the Jaguars take the lead in the AFC South, and the Texans with a big win over the Chiefs to stay a game right behind them. Their defense is dominating right now. They were
Oh
all
boy.
over Mahomes the other day. I mean, Stroud, he does a good job as a game manager. So if they can have a consistent offense, not turn the ball over, put up 20 points or whatever, and their defense dominates, just like against the Chiefs. Do you view them as a true Super Bowl contender?
Okay, so that's a great question, and you and I were talking about that during our pre-production meeting, where I referenced two Super Bowl winning teams that were very much defensive teams, and
Yeah.
the offense was, just basically game management, get a couple touchdowns, and the defense just dominates. And it was the Giants, a number of years ago, and it was the Ravens a number of years ago. It's been a long, long time, especially with the last 5, 6, 7 years of Chiefs domination,
Hmm.
where that is very offensive minded.
Yeah.
But it's been some time since the defense has been the main story of a team. But I've seen it done. So I would say that as good as that defense is, as long as nobody gets hurt, I
Hmm.
think they can make a true push through the playoffs. Stroud has playoff experience. I
Yep.
think the first time you go into playoffs as a young quarterback can be very overwhelming.
Hmm.
It takes a very, very special quarterback to be able to manage the emotions of playoff games. And having been a fan at playoff games before, the energy level in the stadium is totally, totally different. I mean, the last playoff game I ever went to was the Vikings a number of years ago, and it was like being at a college game. We never sat down, and that's never happened at
Wow.
any of the regular season Vikings games that I've gone to. And
No.
so it's a whole different animal. And as a young quarterback, the first time you get exposed to that, it has to be very overwhelming. He's got that under his belt now. I really do think they could make a push. That defense is really good.
Yeah. No, they are good, and they don't have any weaknesses. Their front seven, great, can get to the quarterback, and their secondary has really picked it up after a
Yeah.
kind of slow start to the year, but they're looking good now. Um, Eagles, eh, Eagles lose to the Chargers last night on Monday Night Football. Just a defensive dominated game on both sides.
Yeah.
Um, Eagles defense looks like it got back on track compared to where it was last week against the Bears, but their offense is still just cannot figure out the pass game. Hurts had 5 turnovers, 4 of those being interceptions, and when he was actually able to pass it to the wide receiver, um, there were drops everywhere. AJ Brown had 3 drops.
Yeah.
Crucial ones too, like major drops, including
Right.
a touchdown that could have won him the game
Yeah.
in the fourth
Well,
quarter.
and one that when a drop that led to a pick, it went right through his hands and tipped it into the DB
Yeah,
behind him.
that one too. So I was listening to Get Up, and Jeff Saturday said, if your offense hasn't figured it out by week 14, it's not going to get figured out. Do you agree with that?
Mm. Yeah, I mean, uh, following up that show on First Take, I forget who was on there with Jeff Saturday and Stephen A, but he was coming out saying, yeah, if you look at the schedule,
Mm-hmm.
the Eagles, even though they've lost that game and kind of opened it up for the potential for the Cowboys to catch them, uh, the Eagle this guy said the Eagles are going to win it because of who they play,
They have
not
Raiders and
necessarily because of
Commanders
their
still
play.
in there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So uh, it'll be interesting. I don't know if the Eagles can close the deal or not. I mean, whether they can get it together enough to get to the Super Bowl. I really don't see it.
Yeah.
Um, well, you know, I don't see it.
I agree. This is looking, I said it 2 weeks ago, but this is looking really reminiscent of the 2023 season they had. Start out
Yeah.
great and then just totally fall apart.
I mean, think about it. They'd have to go through the Rams. I mean, look at all the NFC teams that are up there. I mean, the Rams are,
Packers,
yeah. Oh,
yeah,
they all seem to be playing much better than the Eagles. That's for sure.
yeah, especially on the offensive end. Yeah, they
Yeah.
actually have a game plan and are executing. Yeah. Steelers versus Ravens. So we don't need to touch on this a ton, but it looked like the Bengals might be in the playoff picture for a second, had the lead against the Bills. Burrow throws two late picks. Josh Allen does Josh Allen things. Bengals lose, now looking like they're done for good. So that kind of left the Steelers versus Ravens game. Interesting stat for you. So in the month of November, the Steelers didn't complete a pass over 20 yards, 20 air yards.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But
That is a crazy stat.
yeah, for a whole month. Now that obviously changed Sunday. Steelers did a great job of getting DK Metcalf involved. They actually let him run deep routes and weren't just using him as a slot receiver. Let him do what he does best. Ravens look like something is, I don't know what it is. Something's wrong.
Yeah.
They started out the year rough. Then it kind of looked like they got it together, went on that nice little 3-game stretch to make it a division. But they've lost the past couple weeks. Lamar doesn't look the same. He looks hesitant to run it.
Yep. Well, everyone's saying they think he's hurt. They haven't obviously announced anything, but
Yeah.
all of the people in the know say that they think he's hurt. So, what's interesting though is at the beginning, the first 5, 6, 7 games or whatever, when they were 2-5 or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
the defense is what everyone was complaining about, that the defense was just terrible.
Yeah.
And then the defense picked it up. Lamar went down.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just Harbaugh has to be. Here's an interesting question for you, Ben, though, from that game.
Yeah.
The Ravens, Lamar Jackson hit his receiver in the end zone, and it was one of those bang, bang plays where he caught the ball and held the ball, took 2 steps, and then it was popped out by the defender.
Yeah.
And they ended up calling it no touchdown. And that's become a big, big discussion on a lot of different shows and analysts and that sort of thing. Was it or wasn't a touchdown? John Harbaugh came out and said, the NFL's rule on what is and isn't a catch is as clear as mud, was his quote. So I don't know if you saw that play, but it's brutal. They then kept flashing back to what started this whole thing years and years ago, was Des Bryant for the Cowboys in the playoffs against Green Bay, makes a catch, holds the ball, takes 2 steps, and then lands in the end zone, and the ball pops out, and they ultimately called that an incomplete pass.
Yeah. I don't know. If you're asking me, which I'm probably one of the furthest things from a rules official, but if you're taking 2 steps with control of the ball, then land on the ground, I feel like that has to be complete. But
I would sure think so.
I'm not a rules official. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I thought that was a touchdown on Saturday or Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. That's just an annoying rule.
Yeah. But with all that, some of these division races are going to be really good to end the year. So
yes,
exciting to keep covering that.
For sure.
Moving over to basketball, let's start with college here. So the big game of the weekend on Saturday, Purdue gets blown out by Iowa State. That was the 1 versus 10 or 12. I forgot what Iowa State is.
They were 12.
12.
No, 10.
10, yeah.
Yeah.
So Purdue obviously in the AP rankings slide, and Arizona moves up to number 1, which is huge. We love to see that. If you're a number 1 seed, your first loss of the year against a decently ranked team, as a coach, do you view that as a good thing? Kind of like a mid-season reality check?
Yeah. I don't think in college basketball, I would want my team to lose.
Mm-hmm.
A game or 2 here or there. I would not want to be going into the end of the season undefeated. And that used to happen a lot more than it does today. I mean, in the last 5 years, we've seen some real parity
Yeah.
amongst college basketball. But, excuse me, back 10, 15 years ago, we'd see a lot of teams making runs towards the undefeated season. And I've always said that I would want my team to lose a couple now because one, it really doesn't hurt you all that bad to have a couple losses. I mean,
Hmm.
in today's college basketball world, because everyone's losing,
Yeah.
and so it teaches your kids how to handle close games. Um, there's not this added pressure of staying undefeated.
Hmm.
You just have the pressure of winning the game, and you just don't have that extra thing hanging over you. I don't know. That's my opinion. What about you?
I agree because I always think back to the 2015-16 Kentucky team that had Karl Anthony Towns and Devin Booker and a couple other NBA guys. And they were undefeated up until the Final Four when they
Right.
lost to the Frank Kaminsky Wisconsin team, which
Yep.
everyone thought Kentucky had that title ready to go because they had
Oh,
been dominant all season. But
all
then
season.
close game against Wisconsin, exactly like what you said. So I agree. As long as you use it, you do a good job as a coach using it as like a learning experience and you don't let it derail your season, then I think it's a good reality check.
Yeah. I mean, I look back at, I mean, one of my top five all time favorite college basketball teams
Hmm.
was the '89 UNLV running Rebels with Larry Johnson, Stacey Augmon, Anderson Hunt, uh, Mark Anthony. Can't remember the center. Anyway, so they went to the Final Four. Actually, they went to the championship game back to back years. This was the first year they went when they won it, and they had one loss going into the tournament, and that was to Santa Barbara of all
Oh,
things.
wow.
Yeah, so they had a loss.
Yeah.
Um, the next year, I can't remember what their record was going into the finals, and both years I believe they played Duke, and they crushed Duke the first year, and they got crushed by Duke the next year.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I do like having a loss to answer your ultimate question.
I agree.
Yeah.
So, uh, the two big NBA things of the weekend. First, LeBron's streak ends. He had scored 1,297 games in a row of 10 or more points, and this streak has been going since January 5th of 2007. He scored 8 points against the Raptors on a horrible shooting night, 4 for 17, 0 for 5 from deep. But he ended it in probably the most, if you're going to lose that streak, he did it the best way possible on the last play of the game where he drove it. He had quickly on him. It was a one-on-one. Probably could have scored a layup, but kicked it out to Rui Hachimura for an open three game winner. So,
Yeah.
I mean, not much to debate there, but just super interesting news. Um,
Well, and they came out in the post game, when he was sitting in the, in the locker room or whatever, and you got reporters around, and someone asked him about it, and he said, "Hey, we won the game. That's all that matters."
yeah,
I mean, whether he was upset about losing it or not, behind closed doors, who's to say? But I think that winning the game was what his main priority was.
yeah. I did see a funny tweet. It said that streak is technically still active in the U.S. since that game happened in Canada.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. Oh, hey, one thing I wanted to ask you before we move on from college basketball. So you went to 4 years of Arizona games at the McHale Center. Favorite, like most exciting game you went to that you think about over your 4 years?
Most exciting game I went to. Um, oh, it was UCLA against Arizona my freshman year, so the 21-22 season. That's when we were really good with like Benedict Mathurin and Dalen Terry and Christian Coloco. And UCLA uh, came to play against us since it was still Pac-12 at the time. And they were, we both were top five. One of us was number four and one of us was number two. I forget which way it was. So
Yeah.
it was a big game. And the refs had a couple bad calls to start the game against Arizona. And they had this point guard, UCLA did. His name's Tiger Campbell. The entire stadium was chanting "FU Tiger," but they didn't say "FU." It was
Right.
so awesome.
Oh,
It
that's
was
so
so
great.
loud in there too. And Arizona ended up winning the game. So
Oh, that's so cool.
it that was my favorite game I've ever been to. Because last year, um, when we played Iowa State and Caleb Love hit the three-quarter court shot to send it to
Oh,
time, I
yeah.
had a class, so I wasn't at that game.
I remember
For
that.
my NBA thing, yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Um,
so mad I missed that.
I do remember, I went to a few games with you over the years. I'd come down and meet you and go to a game here and there.
Yep,
And we went to that Oregon game your junior year near the end of the season before the tournament.
yep.
And Oregon was good then.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was not a gimme game.
No.
And it was so, I had never been in it was so much more fun than an NBA game in terms of crowd.
Yeah.
Oh, it just was so loud. It was unbelievably loud.
Yeah.
And Oregon had a couple of free throws to try to keep it close within the last minute or two. And it was so loud, I couldn't even hear myself think. I can't imagine trying to shoot a free throw.
And then Kirk Kriisa hit that three from the logo to put it away. That was really cool too. That was a
Yeah,
good one.
that was a good game. Anyway, that popped into my head.
No, that was a good question. I liked it.
Yep.
Um, Back to the NBA. So Giannis, Shams reported that his agents and Milwaukee's front office were going to start talking about the future. That same night, he goes down early in the game with what looks like Achilles injury. He was just kind of walking, jogging, and falls. So, do you think that's just a coincidence, or
I th-
possibly?
I think so. I'm again, as we've said through this whole thing,
Hmm.
I'm not an expert by any means, but in hearing some people talk that were questioning this same thing, they said that if you look back at the same kind of injury that he had a few years ago, his reaction physically was the exact same, and that was a true calf injury. And I don't, boy, that would be a tough one to have on your conscience if you literally fake an injury to that degree because you're starting to talk with your team about whether it's an extension or if they're going to trade you or whatever. Boy, that's a tough way to go.
I don't think he'd be faking it just because the NBA right now, the whole gambling thing is just so hot on people faking injuries. So
Yeah,
Terry
yeah,
Rozier, yeah, Jonte Porter. I agree. I think it's just a coincidence, but it's just funny how those two things happen on the same day.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree.
All right,
I agree.
now we're gonna get into our segment, so we're gonna do another top five list situation.
Yep.
Today we are doing top five hockey logos of all time.
Oh
So it can
boy.
be old, current, any logo that any team has used at some point in the NHL.
So awesome. I think hockey logos in general are the best logos of all professional sports, first of all, as we head into this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think hockey jerseys are awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and then with the logos on top of it, I think that it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um, are you going first this time or am I? You tell me.
You got it.
All right. Here's my list, Ben. Uh, I'll give you my honorable honor. Well, I'll do my list first, and then I'll give you my honorable mentions after that.
Okay.
Okay, so my number five is Islanders, and that includes both their jerseys, the one with the island and
Okay.
the hockey stick of the Y,
Mm-hmm.
and the fisherman logo that they used, a couple decades ago.
Yep.
Number four is the Oilers, just classic, awesome.
That's
Um, Number three is Maple Leafs.
mm-hmm.
Again, just I just love the leaf. That's just great.
Yeah.
Uh, my number two and number one go back. They don't exist anymore. But my number two is the Hartford Whalers,
Mm-hmm.
and my number one is the Quebec Nordiques. I just love those two logos. They're just the best. My honorable mentions are the Flyers,
Okay.
the Bruins, the Penguins, and the Penguins one where it's the old one from the '90s, the Penguin skating.
Yep.
The Red Wings is just a classic. I mean, they've never messed with it. It's stayed the same forever.
Mm-hmm.
And then the original Anaheim Ducks logo that actually came from the
Mighty Ducks
yeah,
with the mask. Yeah.
yeah, with the mask. Yeah,
Uh-huh. Yep.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
those are all good. I knew Nordiques and Hartford Whalers were gonna
Yeah,
be your one and two. I just didn't know what order it would be in.
right.
Um. All
And
right.
the Whalers, I should specify the Whalers logo that is just the tail, the whale tail coming up. Not that they also have a logo that's like a kind of a cartoonish, big round whale. Not that one.
Yeah, the tail.
Okay. Yep.
All right, my top five here. So fifth place, I have the Detroit Red Wings. Like you
Okay.
said, it's a classic. They've never messed with it. Um, Number four, Penguins. Same thing, the Penguins skating with the hockey stick.
Yep.
Number three, I have Chicago Blackhawks in there. I just think
Ooh.
it looks so good on both the white and the red jersey. Um, Number two, Anaheim Ducks, Mighty Duck logo, like you said,
Okay.
with the mask. And
Yep.
then number one, I had to pick the Toronto Maple Leafs just because that logo on those jerseys, that's when I got into hockey and didn't know anything, that's what made me choose that team.
Right.
Oh, I had to put it at number one.
Well,
Honorable
I was
mention.
going to say that's who
Yeah.
you always chose. Like when you and your buddies were playing on Xbox and
Yeah.
everything like that, you just always chose the Maple Leafs. It
Hmm.
started out because you like the logo. Now you follow the team.
Yeah.
It's a cool reason. I get that. And I wrestled with Chicago also.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, because it's an original six. It's pretty awesome. Same with Montreal and New York Rangers for that matter. I mean, great classic old logos. I mean, the Rangers too is kind of neat with the Ranger word going diagonal, as well as then when they do the logo that is the Statue of Liberty head.
Yeah. I I like the patch looking one. My two honorable mentions are the Rangers and the Bruins, both classic. It's just tough to beat any of the original six logos.
It is tough. It is tough. Um, I when the Nordiques left and went to Colorado, I lived in Colorado at the time,
Yeah.
and I just and when the Sharks actually started in San Jose, I was at school out in the Bay Area, and I just have never taken to those logos, colors, the whole shebang. I just never gelled with it.
I do like the Sharks except for the colors, like you said, the teal. The
Right?
idea of having a shark like biting a hockey stick in half, I think that's pretty cool. But yeah,
It
those
is.
colors.
It is cool, and their white jersey is nice because you're just not overblown with,
Yep, I
teal.
agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, the white one's not too bad. The white one's not bad.
All right, and then for our last segment, this or that. So this week we're gonna do favorite golf course you've ever played, because we're both very avid golfers. So We've played a lot of golf in our years. This should be a good one. I don't think we've ever talked about this though. So,
No, no, we haven't. All right, I went first. I went first on the hockey. You go first on the golf.
okay. I'm going to say TPC Scottsdale. It's a super fun course, super hard course. Um, Having gone to Arizona, I've been to the Waste Management before. So being able to play that after watching the pros play that, super cool experience. And I will say, when we did go play it, it was, what was it, like a week or so after the Waste Management?
It was a handful of weeks.
Handful of weeks. Okay.
Yeah, I mean it was it was a number of weeks, but I know where you're going with that.
So still having like the bones of the stands up and stuff. And like number 16, the famous hole where you have all the stands behind the hole. And I happened to hook it and hit the stands. That was really cool.
It was hilarious. So, for a listener, there's guys working literally in the scaffolding of the what is the Coliseum around the 8th green,
Yeah.
and Ben hits, and it's a great shot in terms of height and everything. It just was a slight pull, and we're all standing there. It was Ben's grandfather and me and brother-in-law and a random guy that we were paired with, and we're all just like, oh God, and it starts rattling around in there. Oh man, that was so funny. But we had a great time.
Yeah. So that one was really fun. That's probably mine. What's
Yeah,
yours?
yeah. Well, uh, I've got a number of honorable mentions that I want to go through, and some are because of the experience, and some are because of the golf course.
Yep.
You and I played Trump National Los Angeles a
Yes.
year or two ago. I could not keep the ball in play, but the setting, I mean, every hole was overlooking the ocean,
Yep.
and we had a great time because it was just the two of us.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I couldn't hit the ball to save my life, that was tough. TPC Sawgrass, I got to play that with my dad. That was a lot of fun, and neat knowing that I've watched it since I was little.
Yeah.
Was super cool. I have TPC Scottsdale also as an honorable mention. You and I played a course in Central Florida called Old Corkscrew. And
Yes.
I think that's kind of a fun course. It's a Nicholas course that was a ton of fun.
Uh-huh.
And also there's a great course down outside of Naples called Tiburon. You and I played there last year. That was a lot of fun, a lot of water.
Yeah,
Um,
that one was tough.
then you've got, some three good ones around here. You got Deacon's Lodge up in Minnesota. That's a pretty special one, designed by Arnold Palmer and through the trees of northern Minnesota.
Mhm.
Really hard, really fun, great condition. The two prairie courses around here, Sutton Bay out in the middle of the state, and Prairie Club down in the middle of Nebraska. Very cool that I would go to anytime asked.
Yeah.
But my top three, I'm going to put Mapleton, which is a new golf course here in Sioux Falls that is really fun to play.
Uh-huh.
Thunderbird out in Rancho Mirage, California, where we play. I would say Thunderbird is the best manicured course that I've ever played.
Yeah.
The superintendent there, Ben, keeps it in immaculate condition that I would put up against any course anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And my top one that's been my favorite forever is Devil's Tower out in Hewlett, Wyoming, for so many reasons. The setting is unbelievable. The course is wonderfully challenging, very fun to play though. And then the experiences that we've had up there. We've done some father-son trips up there and that sort of thing. So very neat. But Devil's Tower, the golf club at Devil's Tower is super duper cool.
Yeah, that would be my honorable mention. That's a really good one. We've been fortunate enough to play that a good amount of times, and it's so much fun every time.
It is. It is super duper fun.
Yeah. Awesome. That was a great episode. A lot more to come. We're getting into the college football playoffs here. NFL regular season's winding down, so gonna be some good tight races to keep track of. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Go ahead and follow us on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Yeah, thank you guys. Pat, good to be with you.
Absolutely. Ben, great to be with you. Thank you. Great job. Love you tons.
Love you.
All right.